Right, okay, so they're the answers to the little exercise A. Hopefully you've got the basic idea there. Just checking really for singular and plural, and in terms of whether you write it as of the slave or slave's bread, that doesn't matter. It's our English, we understand it both ways, so that doesn't matter too much. It's just about getting the right translation of the noun and whether it's singular or plural. Notice if you've gotten to the extension, and that was an example I put in there just of the special verb for akuo, and so we are listening to Christ, or we hear Christ, is what we are looking for there. So that's why to Christu was in number 3 of the extension was in the genitive. So that's there if you want to refer back to it, and hopefully if you've had a chance just to quickly look through. There's any queries on that one. If you think I've done it wrong, you probably should tell me, because I may well have done. Again, with the just one final thing, I suppose, again with the translation of Christ, we use the article. It tends to have the article with it, and but we don't translate that. We understand in our language just Christ, so that's how we tend to translate it. So if we're all right with that, shall we have a look at the dative case, and just add a fourth of the cases into our sort of system. So we have 3 cases, and so far that means we've got 6 different ways of spelling each noun. So we're just going to add 2 more just to make it a bit more complicated, it seems, but it's the way the Greek works. And what we have here for the dative, so we're talking about an indirect object, so for something or to something is our general English translation. So doulos, we've got the ones above, so the stem stays the same, and then our ending this time is an omega with a little iota subscript, and we've talked very briefly about those, I think. So it's dulo, and a little iota just under there. It's quite easy to spot, actually. So you'll kind of often know you're in the dative because of that, particularly if you're working with these nouns. And then the plural is just doulois, so it's omicron iota sigma, and so that kind of like pretty much completes the main group of endings that you'll see when looking at these particular nouns. I say that because there are other types of nouns which we'll come to another time. Right, so the article that we've been building up as well has very similar endings then. So we have toy, and then we have toys, which are our endings for our article, which means that we can hopefully translate. Now we're going to, depending on the context, we're going to sort of say to something or for something, and it will kind of make sense which we probably would prefer to use in terms of a good English translation. So if you have a look at the sentence which I've just put under there, so we've got tere ton arton to dulu, or loi, toi do loi. Sorry, so tere and is the verb to keep, okay, and it's in the 3rd person singular because of the ending. And so so we have tere here, so that is he, she, or it is keeping. So you can write that with all of them or just with one of them. So he is keeping, or she is keeping, or it is keeping. And then we've got ton arton, so that's the bread. And then Now we've got this dative case here, toi douloi. So we'll say he is keeping the bread for the slaves. So the slaves are the indirect object here, and they're indicated as indirect by the dative case in Greek. In English, we use for or to, depending on the context. So next one down, similar idea. So let's read through the sentence. So Zeitumen ton Christon tois doulois. So we have a verb here, and that's a verb that means to seek. And we'll notice the ending here, which is umen. And because it's one of those epsilon omega verbs, you'll remember that there's a little upsilon that's added in to the sort of ending, the standard ending, because of the type of verb it is. So say tumen is third person plural, which means we. Okay, so we would put we. So we are seeking. We are seeking. And then ton Christon. So ton Christon is Christ. Okay, we are seeking Christ. And then we have tois doulois. So that's in the dative, it's in the plural. We are seeking Christ. And then, oh, I put slaves on that one. I meant to put for the slave up there, didn't I? That's singular. This one's plural. I know you spotted that, but you were too shy to tell me. So well done for spotting it. So the first one should have been singular. He is keeping the bread for the slave. The second one is we are seeking Christ for the slaves. It's in the plural. And we have a similar thing using slaves below. So balusin ton arton tois doulois. If we were to translate that one, so balusin is from the verb balo, which is to throw. Usin is the ending for the third person plural, so that's they. So they are throwing. I think I might have said on the previous one third person plural. I meant to say first person plural. So they are throwing. And then ton arton, so the bread. And then tois doulois, probably makes more sense to put to the slaves. Okay, so it's plural again. So that's singular and that's plural. Okay. Right, as with the genitive and the verb of akuo, if you're able just to scroll down a little bit, Michael, there's a couple of special verbs that we have in which use the dative. And so the special verb that we'll just think of here is lego, and this might kind of make some sense. Lego is the verb to say or to speak. So I say, I'm speaking. So if I'm speaking things, so if I'm speaking words, then I'm going to use the accusative. And if I want to speak to somebody, then if I'm speaking to BB, for example, then that would be in the dative case because of this idea of this kind of two sort of thought. So we have a similar kind of idea with akuo. So with akuo, if it was, we used an accusative of the thing heard, and akuo we use the genitive of the person that is heard. With lego, we'll have again the thing which is spoken. So if I say lego ton logon, right? I'm sorry, that's a really bad not much better. I'm speaking the word, but if I want to say I'm speaking to the Lord, then I would use toi kurioi. Okay, so I put it in the dative. Again, it'll be kind of fairly clear as you when you get to sort of read the Greek, then that will be more obvious. It's something you can learn and pick up and remember, but it's one of those things you only have to remember if you want to try writing Greek a lot, which I guess at this stage you're probably not planning on. And then one verb which will come up in the next sort of set of vocab that you need to learn, which is pistiu. And pistiu is the verb to believe. Okay, so this is to believe, and it takes the dative. It always takes the dative, so it doesn't take the accusative at all. So if you want to write something in terms of to believe, then the dative will come, and that will come more clear actually when we look at some of the prepositions. So you believe in something, and one aspect of the dative is this idea of in something as well. So I would write pistiu, so I believe, and then if I'm going to write to Christu, so I believe in Christ. So you just write it in the dative. So it's like there are some special verbs that just take a particular case, and so sometimes they take the genitive or the dative, but most verbs take the accusative. Okay, so it's only one or two things we have to just think about. Right, got a little bit of time just to have a little practice on some dative translation. So if you want to have a look at exercise B, we just got sort of, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes. Maybe you can have a go at doing that. If I just bring the extension up again so we can see that. If you're a bit quicker, then move it up there. I don't know if that's the position. Right. So you get on with those. It looks like you've got quite a lot of Greek there that you're translating, so you're doing a pretty good job for 4 sessions in. I'll stop the recording actually at this point as well.